My name is Jordan Rakei and we are at my home studio in my house in the UK countryside. This has been a lifelong dream, and whenever I walk up my garden, I'm just so happy and excited. It's such a weird feeling. It's not like I'm walking into a studio in London. I'm like, I own this, it's crazy. But yeah, I'm here in my home studio. The earliest thing is, we had a neighbor when I was 4 years old giving away their piano, and my dad took it off them. Was like, of course we'll have it. I've got 3 young boys. They're crazy. We need to control them. We would always be jamming on it, hitting it, like kids do. And then my brothers, all of us, got piano lessons at the same time, and they sort of got bored of it, went out and played rugby or something outside, and I was still always entranced by it. I kept going on with my lessons, and I kept sort of falling in love with music, and then there'd always be music in my house. We'd always be singing. My dad loved lots of different sorts of music, like Pink Floyd, Frank Zappa stuff, and my mum was into the disco Motown thing, so that was pumping in the house. And yeah, just growing up in that sort of vibe. And then there's guitars lying around. My dad used to jam with his mates, and then I started picking up the guitar. Then I started making beats, fell in love with Kanye, Timbaland, and then I got into the production thing where I was using piano, guitar, bass, started making my beats. But it wasn't beat sampling, it was sort of playing all my parts. So it's sort of early DIY recording style. And so that's a massive fast forwarding thing. But from there, it was making all my first few EPs, and first album was the Jordan world, me in my bedroom, layering it all up. Yeah, sort of plugging my guitar straight into my old little mic input on my Mac, if you remember those days. Didn't even have a sound card yet. And then it started turning into getting a sound card, and then releasing this music and it getting heard around Europe. So this is when I was living in Australia. And then I moved to London, and it sort of just became migrating the modular life of DIY studio thing in my bedroom to going to a studio and really being stressed about the time and the cost. And then I could start to afford gear, and it's over the years it's been culminating and building my own little DIY bedroom thing. And then it's sort of moving out of London now and having the ability to put all that stuff in my own studio. So it's been a crazy journey, and it's changed. My interests of styles have changed over the years, but I think the biggest thing is doing what I want to do this whole time has been my biggest driving force, and I'm still loving it. So I went to a jam session with all these musicians of London, and I was playing bass actually, and this guitarist Fred Cox, who's also a producer, was playing the studio version of the Lionheart, and I was just blown away because he was just going straight into a cheap PA, because it was a very low-key jam session. And I've always loved going direct out of an amp, but he was showing me all the settings on this amp, and it was blowing my mind, the sound we were getting out of a crap little PA. And I was like, I remember pulling him aside when we were just having a drink in the balcony outside. I was like, man, what is that? Can I have a play on it when we have a bit of a break? Can you intro me to Laney, the crew? And I would love to try it out in my studio. Anyway, I got in touch with Laney, and then I went up to the factory in Birmingham and played through all of them. I played through that, I played through the studio, played through the Lionheart. And yeah, and what I love is they all can have different functions in my setup, and that's what's the most exciting thing about it. It's because I'm a producer first. I'm not necessarily a guitarist where I'm out there with my massive rig. I always think about actually the studio as more of an instrument. And whenever I go on stage, because of my budget when I was younger, I would rock up with a DI for my guitar, and we would go and clean to the front of house, and the guy was like, Jordan, can you at least get an amp sim or something like that? And that's why the thing I discovered at the jam session blew my mind, because it's a small little thing, but it had such a big sound. And yeah, and that's why I fell in love with it. So this is amazing. This studio is amazing because it has that capability of going on the road, but it's got the virtual amp things, which you've told me about, which I didn't know anything about at the time as a product. And so, yeah, it's, like I said, for someone that's not a guitar-centric person, it's great for me because it has so much functionality for synths. I'll chuck a Rhodes through it, which is what I'm excited about doing. I do a lot of stuff where I reamp out into my Space Echo, or I reamp into a mic in the corner of the room, but now I can do that, and it can be recorded direct as well as, you know, I'm just excited about like that capability, as well as like having a great guitar amp, a proper like functional guitar amp. This gives me so much flexibility, and that's why it's exciting, and it all came from a little jam session. It's crazy. Yeah, so the thing that excites me most about the Black Country Customs pedals in my current workflow is that I'm now making a new album, and I've made this weird commitment where I really want to commit to sounds pre-recording. I want it to be like capturing it now, rather than sitting on a computer for months and doing post-production, chucking on a chorus plugin. Oh, that's not right. I want to capture it now because it affects the way you play the part pre-recording. And so I'm gonna, like, what I'm really excited about is like experimenting with like the chorus pedal, because I'm really into chorus lately. I started getting into Prince. I've had this like revamp of Prince lately, and he has it on everything. He's got it on synths, like guitar, obviously. And so the chorus and reverb pedals particularly, but doing it like what I call like destructive recording, but printing it, you're recording with those sounds, so you're committing early, and it's leaving you no flexibility later to go, oh, maybe I'll have the dry signal and do post-production. So there's a few reasons that I love doing that. Is that it speeds up the workflow, because you're in the zone, you're finding your sound, you're dialing in the sound with the delay, you've set the, you know, the feedback, and then you've got it all, and that affects the way you play. And when you press record, you do the whole take sort of thing. That's my approach. And then that, it is what it is. That's what you got. And if, you know, that's why it's exciting to, like, pedals are a big part of the process. You know, the new album for me is all about creating something different sonically, whereas in the past I would sit there on the computer, and it sort of takes the love away from music. So I'm excited to just like be in this studio. Like, that's why I'm excited to have all this gear, like be in my studio reamping. You know, I could be ramping a mic in the corner of the room and wire that into a chorus pedal. It'd be like super weird sound, but just experimenting in this like space is going to be exciting. I'm in a place now where, like, you know, I'm in my house and I'm making music. There's no stress of that journey into London or the commute. It's like I'm in a zone where I've got a clear headspace. So it's just sort of album mode, experimenting with sounds and having fun and not sort of judging the process. And yeah, can't wait to like finish it. Yeah, I'm excited.